Hi, everybody. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining Create CA's Student Conversation live stream. Today's guest that I have on is super awesome student advocate. He does so much for his school district, and he just graduated from Santa Ana Unified School District, and I'm really excited that he's joining us today. So we're just going to wait for him to connect, and then we can get started. Let's see. I think. Awesome. All right. We're just going to wait for him to connect, and then we can get started. I think it's still loaded. Hey, Walter. What's up? How are
What's
you?
going on, Arlene? I'm doing well. Yourself?
I'm doing good. So first off, thank you so much for being a part of our live stream today with Create CA. Do you want to just kick us off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I mean, it's gonna be pretty generalized, so as long as we got that under wraps, then yeah, we can go ahead and handle it. My name is Walter Enrique Scott. I am African American and Mexican, from both sides of my family. I'm a photographer, overall digital creator, graphic designer, website designer, cinematographer, anything that involves, using some type of digital media art. We got it down packed. So, I'm glad to be here today. Gotta share some experiences, share some peace, get some things off my shoulders, and just have a good time today. So looking forward
Yeah,
to it.
I'm so excited you can join us.
Yeah,
So I know both you and I are the first in our families to kind of like explore art, with you, everything that you explore, like photography and graphic design and
right.
cinematography. Um, so I was wondering if you could just talk a little bit about like what drew you to that, and just your experience with art.
But yeah, for sure. Um, you were definitely right about being the first to really kind of embrace the art. My family's pretty much centered around athletics. Been that way since the since the start. For me, photography was really just my coping mechanism to deal with, the pressures, the expectations of, transitioning from being in high school to being in college. Um, it was a way for me to express how I felt at the time and to, alleviate some of that worry, some of that stress. Um, I mean, it was and continues to be something that I feel like should always be natural. I never really try to force anything out of my photography. Never try to force a feeling or an aesthetic or a look or anything like that. It's more along the lines of just how I feel in the moment, what I feel like capturing, and just keeping it as simple as that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really beautiful. Like it's just kind of like an extension of yourself. It's nothing like posed or anything staged like that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So can you tell us a little bit about like the work you're doing, especially in Santa Ana? And I know like you're getting ready to go to college, but we've heard
Right.
so many like great things about what you're doing in Santa Ana.
Yeah, I was born and raised in Santa Ana. So, for me, that community has, truly been a supportive and uplifting community. Um, through its education system, through its, its local businesses, through, just the people that make up that, beautiful city. It's just always felt like the right place to be, the right type of, idea for me to find my type of expressionism in there. Um, as towards what I'm doing, I'm definitely trying to promote the idea of self-expression during, times like this where, it's real difficult to kind of let people know how you feel, let yourself know how you feel, because you can't interact with anybody anymore. Physical interactions pretty much been kind of cut down to a short, or at least if you're, quarantining and making sure that you're keeping your loved ones safe, you're kind of staying away and, handling your business. But no, definitely to speak on, social injustice or, just, how you feel inside, or how you really want to portray your thoughts, concerns, and, your overall feelings. You definitely want to use the ability to educate yourself, to develop your creations, whether that be through the arts or through dancing, or, if you're a barber, work on that. Shout out Wavy Cuts on that. An athlete, continue to train, use your God-given talent and your gift to, develop your creation. And it's to motivate. You got to motivate others to, get up and start doing something about it. If you want to see change, you got to go make it. So it's definitely something that I think that the city of Santa Ana is doing a great job of promoting, to give that idea of, use your voice, use your talent, use your, any method that, you want to express yourself through. I think that's the best way to go about it. So that's what so far I've done with the city of Santa Ana, and continue, or at least hope to continue, when I go to college, or, wherever I go. So,
Yeah. No, that's really great. Like I didn't even think about that. Like especially now because of COVID,
mm-hmm.
um, we have to find these ways to stay in conversation. And I think like how you put it, like you're kind of, with your art is an extension of you, and you're in conversation with yourself,
Right.
talking about, political issues, just how you're feeling, how you're processing the world around you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's super amazing.
You got to.
And I know Santa Ana is actually working with Create CA, which is really hopefully is going to make some big changes, because
It's about to.
all students should have access to all 5 areas of art, and that's visual arts, dance, theater, music, and media art.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think it's really disheartening, because when I'm looking at the stats, I have access to the arts, and I'm like, yeah, this is natural. Like everybody should have it.
Mm-hmm.
And then only 12% of schools, like across California, so it's not even like only in LA or only in Santa Ana, like 12% of schools have access, and that's just so disheartening. But I'm like,
Yeah,
let's make the change.
you got to. And it starts, when you want to express your imagination, you want to, experience your creativity firsthand. Like that starts when you're a kid, and it's super important to have access to, things that, flex your creativity and your expressionism. I say so. It it's crazy the fact that you told me that the stats really tell it how it is, and more of these stats are like available where, on createcalifornia.com.
Yeah, there's work in
Okay.
Create California, and definitely just like doing research about arts education in general. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think we were talking about this before. It's like insane that you're 5 times more likely to stay in school if you have an arts education.
Right.
And we were talking about like how like even you're an athlete too, and you're kind of
Mm-hmm.
like thinking about, okay, well I have to make it through the whole day to be able to get to this one part of the day that I really like, whether that be
Right.
practice or an art class.
Mm-hmm.
And so it makes sense, like you have to stay because you want to participate in this thing. But when you don't have
Definitely.
a want to be there, then you start thinking about um, other things or leaving, and that's why the arts kind of motivates you to just stick it out. Sometimes
No,
sometimes
no, yeah, no, I 100% get it. Although I can't really, speak on behalf of, the art students that, have stuff that, comes at the end of the day, that being sixth period. Um, my sixth period was always athletics, whether it was basketball or track. That was my thing at the end of the day. And I can tell you how many times where, class is just, it's grueling, it's difficult, it's, it might be a snooze fest at times, and it's really hard to, you know, really get through the day. But, being an athlete, that I know that I have to, you know, not only just represent the athletic side of myself, but I also have to embrace the fact that I'm a student. I'm a high school student, and that's super important to me and to my family. Maintaining a solid GPA, keeping up on my studies, um, to be able to go to the next level, which is college. You can't just not run through school and just focus on your sport. Like, it's part of the process. And so, yeah, no, I can definitely agree that sometimes it feels like, you're never going to get through the day, but you know that, you get to see your friends and you get to do the thing that you love to do at the end of the day, and it's definitely motivating. So yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, and that speaks to everything you're saying about like staying in
Mhm.
school. You're actually 4 times more likely to be recognized for academic achievement if you have an arts education.
Most I can't believe that this is stuff that you can find off the internet. Like that's so like it's true though. Like it's 100% facts. I
Yeah.
could I can see definitely how all of that would work because there's so many different things that you can get out of like the arts, so many like learning methods
Hmm.
and mechanisms within the education process, perceiving that information. I feel like, looking at the world through a different lens, that being me being a photographer, that's actually my lens, but in a generalized statement, being able to problem solve in all these different ways, that artists kind of just see things a little differently. Um, and we continue to use the word artist, but it's really just a broad definition. Like it's not just like a painter or, you know, uh, someone behind the camera. It's whatever you find artistry within your discipline.
Yeah.
So if you practice it and you learn about it and you enjoy doing it, that's your art. You're an artist of that discipline. Cutting
Hmm.
hair, making food,
Yeah.
gardening. You're an artist within your respective discipline, and so to be able to, you know, pertain information and utilize that information through the way that you see different things, it's so much easier being, an artist and being creative about it. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Art can do so much for you. I just, it took me until I got associated with youth arts leadership in Segerstrom, um, and we got to work close with Create California, that I really started to see like real world examples of how, you know, our equity influences the community within. Um, it's just so mind boggling. And I would have never, went about learning it if it wasn't presented to me. And I feel like that's information that can't be withheld from the community at all. Like
Yeah,
that's something that needs to be out there.
for sure.
Yeah.
There's always the stereotype that artists are sensitive, like, oh, they're the sensitive
Yeah.
type. And I'm like, no, we kind of just like, we're moving through the world in a different lens, in a different way.
Yeah.
And maybe we're sensitive, but it's not like in feelings. It's just like in relation to everybody else, we kind of like move in this different energy, which I think is
Yeah.
really cool.
Definitely. You move different. You're a different breed in simple
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, no, for sure. And then going, even talking about art equity, it's so important that the community, like, I don't even know how many students know that they should have access to art classes. You know what I mean? Like, that's not like
Right. Because it's been
information.
withheld for them for so long. Like it shouldn't be very hard to, want to get involved within the arts. But it
Exactly.
is, and that's kind of sad. So yeah,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. And even when we're talking about art equity, we also have to think about access too, right? And like, what
Hmm.
kind of skills do you have? Like, you can't just throw paint at people and be like, okay, there you go.
Like figure it out. No, yeah, you
Yeah.
need you need teachers, you need, people that actually care about the subject material. Like no,
Yeah.
yeah, no. There's so much to it that, so many people neglect to deem important. Um,
Hmm.
but I am, approximately 1 year associated with Create California. And for me, and I know you've been a part of this program for like ever. So for like you're in the behind the scenes, you're the one on the page. I'm not. So what I learned in, the about 5 hours that I spent with them, analyzing the data and trying to come up with ideas of where to put, funding and stuff like that. You learn a lot. And it's sad that kids the of my skin color are sometimes neglected in terms of where that art and the equity goes to. um I don't know the specific stat, but I know that there's an imbalance within the community of who is getting what and how much of it they're getting. So yeah, no, it's disappointing, but it's reassuring that we can bounce back from it if we really pay attention to it. And I love the fact that Create California and, Santa Ana and, SAUSD from that, take it seriously. They
Yeah.
actually know that it's worth it. So yeah, no, definitely.
Definitely, no, for sure. The data shows that communities of color and low income communities
Right.
are the communities that are receiving the least access. And,
Hmm.
there's kind of this like idea that, oh, well, there's no room in the budget for it, or like there's no need for it, right? It's not
Right.
essential. We need to be pushing for like STEM and, math and science and
Right.
technology, especially. But I think they all coincide so much, and
Oh
you can
yeah.
do so much art in science and so much art in math. Like I've even known like mathematicians who are like, yeah, math is an art, and I'm like, yeah, I totally believe you. And to bring those different skills that you're saying, this new lens
Hmm.
to those areas and those fields, I don't know, I think we could change the world.
You got to let them know. I mean, it starts small in the sense that, um, I'm getting involved with Santa Ana, and I say but I know there's so many more people that are so much more passionate about it than I am. It's wild that you told me you've accomplished all this with Create California, and I found out you're younger than me. And it's crazy because I felt like I did a lot, but I'm not saying like it's compare, who has the most experience. It's the fact that so many people care, and that's what we need. We need people that figure that this is important, not only for them but for the people that come after them. I would love to see my nieces and nephews be able to utilize the arts the way that it's meant to be, so that they have a better chance to succeed later in life. Like at a younger age, that would be perfect. Giving them a head start that I didn't get. And
Yeah,
so to be able to do that, and it starts there and then it goes down to, California and then the US. And like, you got to start small though. You got to start where it matters to you. And then that becomes the reality.
exactly.
To say that I'm going to be the richest person in the world, that's huge. Like, you got to start. Like, it's a good plan of judgment and the fact that, shoot for the stars, aim for the moon. But, you just got to start. That's the whole premise. I think that's where I'm going at it. Like, you got to start,
Yeah,
you got to care. And it starts by the people like you and, the establishment Create California to, push the agenda, to let people know the stats, to let people know the imbalance, to let the communities know that, you're cared for, that you matter. That's a huge, culmination of what you guys are doing. And it's awesome the way you guys go about doing it.
oh, definitely, and people like you too. I mean, come on, you got to give yourself some credit
I,
here.
I I thought so, but I was like, you know what? We going, yeah,
Making some change down there.
for sure, for sure.
But yeah, you're definitely right. It has to be, it's not just like I'm graduating, so I don't care about
Right,
the community anymore. Like I'm leaving. It has to
right,
be this like investment. We need to make this investment in our
most
community,
definitely.
so that way it's like every generation moving forward has access to these things that maybe we didn't have access to.
Of course,
But now they have it, and it's normal, and they're gonna, one day somebody's
but
gonna
I
be running
say like,
around.
but I
Yeah.
say like that it's for the future. That's why so many things get done. That's why people don't settle for the way things are. That's why civil rights was such a beautiful project, because people did it for the next person. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't, there wasn't any selfishness to it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no selfishness to the Renaissance at all. It's just love. Love's gonna push it forward, and it's love for the people next to you, not you know, it's love for the people behind you, not the people next to you.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I'm going with it. So yeah,
Love for the people behind you and the people who are keep on
I was
coming.
about to
I
say,
love.
yeah, you got to. The ones in front, they laid the blueprint out for you, to be able to do what you've done up until this point. You thank your ancestors for, providing the benefits and the sacrifices they made for you, whether that be through immigration or just generational wealth. You thank them for giving you that opportunity. In that same sense, you got to be able to pass that on to the people that are going to come after you. And
Yeah.
so you can't, sit down and be like, well, that's it, like cut it. Like you can't just cut those lessons short for anybody that's gonna come after you. So it's definitely important that, we push this and make it, important that, you know, I mean, I don't want to keep using the word, but you got to make them feel like they matter. Like you have to, because, you don't want to feel like you were left out for anything. So definitely no. So shout out to Create for, making it happen. And to anybody that supports it, you're part of that change. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
no,
huge.
definitely. Community community wealth. That's what I'll say, like a collective
Exactly.
knowledge.
There you go. Community
Yes.
well. There you go.
Yes. Mutual aid through the arts.
That that's
I
the
love
that's
it.
the that's the word of the day right there.
Community wealth. There we
Community
go.
well. There you go. Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to see if you would share with us like the story about like, because I know we were talking the other day about like sharing knowledge and passing it on,
Yeah.
about like what we've learned in our arts and kind of just like telling our friends and telling, like you're saying, the
Yeah.
younger generation.
Hmm.
So if you could tell us about like how you're sharing your photography, or even the skills that you have, that would be great.
Sure. Well, the way I learned my photography in the first place, I know we discussed it before. Everything I did was self-taught. I went about learning, how to even operate a camera, uh, excuse me, through trial and error. Flicking this button and seeing what it did, and moving this over here and seeing what it did. Um, and the fact that, I was so unqualified to, be able to share the knowledge that I've gained from, what I've done so far. When I finally got introduced to the community of artists around me, um, and they came to me asking questions, I was acting like I'd been doing it for like 8 years and counting. Like I would let them know, like, yeah, no, so you do this, and then it's gonna do that, or oh, and if you need some help with that, you're gonna do this, and things will look up a little better from that. Um, you know, just by little stuff like that, or taking up leadership positions that put me into a better position to educate others in terms of making sure that they had more advantages to what they were doing versus what I had. That started with the Link Crew in my high school. It was a mentorship program for the freshmen. And when I heard about it my junior year, it was the first year that they were going to try it out. They had really no high or low expectations towards it. It was really just, what can we do to help out the freshmen or, leave a good influence for them.
Mm-hmm.
And for me to take that leadership position as quick as I did, actually become a commissioner for it was the thing that I had wanted to do for so long, was to be able to help those that were in similar or same position as I was. Because from where I started, I came from a Catholic school that wasn't, it was in Santa Ana, but not in like Santa Ana school district.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Regardless, it's Catholic, so it wouldn't be funded anyways. Um, and I came to the school only knowing, two other people. Had really no idea as to how I should move or where I should move, and it was tough freshman year to be able to adjust to it.
Mm-hmm.
So to be able to take 6 to 10 kids under my wing, and make sure that I can answer any question that they have, or ease any type of like uncertainty that they had. It felt really good to be able to like return that like community well-being to the students, as well as anybody that was around me as a family member. I sometimes care too much. Making sure that the person next to me is good even when I'm not at my best. It's just to make sure that we can preserve that that togetherness, to make sure that I got you, like you can count on me, regardless of how I'm feeling or how I want to go about doing things. Um, that's the way that I've tried to leave my influence through my work on the track field as well. You know, doing what I do, people kind of have questions towards, or more like uncertainties, because they hear bad things about like the stuff that I do like it hurts, or like, oh, I don't, it might hurt my knee. Like, no, like if you ask the right questions, and I encourage that they ask questions, you'll learn it the way that you're supposed to learn it.
Mhm.
I was coached by someone that died at the end of my freshman year, and the last 3 years of high school that I went through wasn't really, you know, facilitated through any of the stuff that I had done for track. But the motion that I could help others kind of learn to understand it, and to, encourage them to try new things, and to, fall down and, feel like they have someone that'll help them get up. Like, it was definitely a pushing point for me to get through as far as I did in track. Leaving that to, be something that I can take forward in college to, just be a good person, just help. That's more of the story. Like, I don't want to sound like a Samaritan or a saint, because I'm not, but to be able to make sure that the people around you are, they're comfortable and they're successful. That's all I want to do, is motivate the next person to do it. So
Sure. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and that goes with that, how we're thinking about somebody already laid the blueprint out for us. So now
right.
it's our turn to just
You
take
got
it and
to,
run.
you
Yeah.
got to take it, run, fly, whatever you're gonna do. Just don't walk, don't move, like don't not move. You get me? Like, you got to do something. You
Yeah.
got to spread it. You have to.
Yeah, for sure. So now that you're going off to college, do you think
Mhm.
that I know, like we talked about, like it has this lens, art, anything, whatever your craft is kind of
Yeah,
like you're moving through the world with this extra. I always call it like an extra limb, like you have an extra arm or something to kind of
yeah,
help you out.
I love it.
So do you think that you're kind of take like photography? I know you were talking about like all these amazing things that you're doing, and
Hmm.
do you think you're going to keep pursuing that moving forward?
I can't tell you that I'm gonna stop. Um, the leadership positions, that it just kind of formed naturally. I never really seeked it out. Anytime I felt, a call to action, or, a call to be an example, not necessarily a speaker, but definitely more of like the demonstrator or the example to, show that, there's a lot of imperfections with, being in the front. Um, yeah, I'll definitely take the role as they come. Um, with that being said, in terms of like photography and, the other different types of things that I was, associated with, photography isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Uh, Especially when you spend like $600 on a camera. That no, that it's kind of a waste to just
Yeah.
say, yeah, you did it. No, no, no. That's sticking around for a little bit. But in a serious sense, no, never. You know, I'm blessed in the fact that I got to experience the different, style of viewing the world and viewing other people through a camera. Um, no photo shoot is the same. Your interaction with the person that you're taking the picture of, the people that you have to communicate with when you're doing a venue, or like I've done a concert and stuff like that, like a music festival. Your communication skills got to be at top notch at all times, um, and that is going to help like tremendously in the collegiate level, because after that's experiences within your desired career, leading up towards what you're going to do for the rest of your life. And it was super hard for me to pick a major, because there's so many different things that I want to do, so many things that I can do, and I just didn't want to, sit down and say this is my major and wave a white flag around, saying like, yeah, I picked it, but I can do all this stuff too. And picking something as broad as media communication and journalism that I'm doing, that's three disciplines in itself that is going to need every little thing that I've done up until this point. So I'm super excited. I'm totally looking forward to starting the college experience. Um, you know, it it's in the day and age of COVID, so classes are going to be online, and I still got to knock out my GEDs. But it's it's exciting in the fact that that's waiting for me once I take care of that business. Like there's so much joy and so much passion that I get to, actually engulf in and experience it, that once, you get through the grimy stuff, your general eds and, taking care of the things that you might not want to, but things that you love and enjoy, it's not even going to be school anymore. It's going to be something that you enjoy doing.
Yeah.
And that's all I really ask for when, going to grow up. I don't want to work a day in my life. I want to be able to clock in, enjoy every single second of it, clock out, get paid for it, enjoy life. Like
Yeah.
that's the point. That's the
Oh.
quality over quantity. You get me? So
Yeah.
yeah.
I always laugh because so there's this fact that creativity in 2019 was the skill that was most sought after by employers. So they were like looking for
Mm-hmm.
creative people and things like that. Um, and so on my LinkedIn, like the first thing there or on my resume, it'll just be like artist, and then that's just my leading
Okay.
point. I'm just
Hey,
like,
that's smart. I need to fix that on mine. I just submitted my resume and I sound like a complete nerd because I got so many like technical skills under my belt and certificates, but
yeah,
I should put that under it now. Now that I think about it, I'm gonna put like artisan or something like that and make them like
yeah, there you
make
go.
them. Yeah. Hey, that's a good idea. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna coach you on that. I'm gonna coach you on that.
there you go.
All right.
And then I don't know, it's just crazy because we live pretty much, I like to think of us as like the creative capital or one of the creative capitals of the world, like California.
California?
We have,
Oh, no doubt. You got
yeah,
Hollywood right down the street. Like
exactly.
Hollywood, you got every, marketing business sought after because it's an urbanized area. There's so many people that you can, watch and, take notes on and get your data on. Same
Mm-hmm,
thing in New York. Like if you're not creative, you're kind of falling behind.
mm-hmm,
And going back to where we were talking about earlier, the fact that California doesn't receive, the arts as much as, other schools do or other states do, that's terrible. Like like you got to be able to succeed in your home. So
exactly.
that's super important. Everything comes back to it. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's tough.
We have
Yeah,
such
yeah.
a wealth of knowledge and resources and just so many people
There you
here
go.
that you can just tap into it, and that's like so beautiful. But it's like, okay, but how do we access that? Like how do we get
Right,
there and
right.
have it for everybody to access? And even like
Hmm.
how do we have the things like the materials that we need to access this? Because
Right.
we were talking and you bought your first camera by yourself, and I was like, what? I've never saved that much
Um.
money ever. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh no, trust. I kind of bought it and just kind of swiped the card like that. But no, definitely. I mean, hey, cans and bottles didn't take very long when you think of it like that. Like, you go to your tia or your tío's party and they got a truckload of cans and bottles for you to take home. So that's how you
Exactly.
do it. That's
Yeah.
how you do it. That's how you do it.
Yeah. And that's so like so awesome and so inspiring to hear that like you're pursuing the passion and like pursuing these things by little even baby steps. And that's like we can take those steps in our communities too. Like if we're
Oh
like
yeah.
baby steps, we offer one art class at one school and then it's going great. We find more money in the budget. We offer more art classes at different schools and
There
different
you go. There you go. You on to something. You need to write
yeah.
this down. You need to write that.
Ripple
You need
effect.
to. You gotta write that down. Yeah, you
Yeah.
got a plan. So yeah, no, definitely. So for you to be, associated with Create California, to have your enthusiasm, your resources, your all your different connections. We were talking about that, and all your different disciplines, and the fact that you actually care, like you're such an asset to the group, and to be able to make sure that you got more people. We need more people like you that are going to tackle issues like this because you're going to get it done.
Yeah.
That's the huge part. You can talk about everything, but if you talk about it, be about it. Like you can always be saying, we need to do this, we need to do that, but I'm gonna respect the person that actually does something to change it more often than I'm gonna trust or actually respect the person that's gonna just keep talking about it. So,
Exactly. So
and that goes for everything.
Yeah, no, for sure. Definitely. Like anything,
Yeah,
any
yeah,
kind of change you want to see. Yeah.
yeah.
So how do you think we can change, like start change within our own communities? Because I know like you've been super successful in Santa Ana. So like how I personally think like it all starts in your home, right? And you have this conversation and you're like, hey,
Right,
mom, like let's go to the board meeting and let's go fight for arts education. And sometimes mom's like,
right,
yeah, let's do it. When she's home. And then it goes, on a larger level, then it's your friends, then it's like your community, then it's like your county,
right.
state.
Baby steps, baby steps.
So how do you think we can like start those conversations in our homes, in our communities, in our schools? Like what advice would you offer?
I touched upon this before, but I'm gonna do it again because it like makes perfect sense for this type of situation. Um, my three-step solution towards, making a difference is definitely educate, create, and motivate.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I touched upon, the create and the educate a little bit, but to go a little more in depth to answer your question, learn about the numbers, learn about the stats, the fact that, the 5%, the 10%, the imbalances within the system. Learn about it, educate yourself, educate others, like you said, it starts in your house. Talk about it. Did you know that 5% of students that do this, blah, 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 blah. Like it's important to know the right type of like information because the media feeds us fake information all the time. People can tell you that, Bigfoot is real and that dragons exist. And if other people start saying it, you're going to believe it. So for you to plant that seed within your household and to say, black kids and Mexicans are, or Latinos aren't receiving, justice in terms of where their arts education is coming from. If you know that information, you plant that in your household, you're educating others, they can educate others as well.
Mm-hmm.
I was about to say, because it can fall under small talk. Like, oh, yeah, did you know this? And then it becomes a whole type of conversation like we're having right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it starts as simple as that. And like you said, it starts in your house, starts with your friends, and then it blossoms into your community. Um, that's how it goes. You got to be able to educate yourself first and then to be able to educate others. Um, in terms of making that difference, express yourself. Express yourself through your work, express yourself through your words, express yourself through your social media, express yourself through your clothing, express yourself through anything, any means necessary. You are your expression. Your voice never has to be your form of expression. My form of expression is photography. Your form of expression might be different than mine, and that's okay. The fact that you're expressing yourself is, one of the biggest components about acknowledging the change and to be acknowledging the problem and to be able to change it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge part about you being able to create. You know how athletes, before a game, they wear a Black Lives Matter shirt and they got their fist up. That's their expression. They're expressing their support towards a cause. Um, in that same sense, go to a meeting, go to a conference, go to a protest. That's your expression. You're expressing your frustration, your discomfort, your dissatisfaction, or your satisfaction. Never has to be bad. Um, that's your create, and your motivate is tying in which educate is to tell people to keep doing it. Tell people you're not necessarily telling them, but acknowledge the fact that you may not see this change right away, but the person behind you is going to.
Mm-hmm.
The kids that are in kindergarten, the kids that are receiving their education at home because of COVID, they, when all is said and done, the fact that we did something, me, you, and the people that are associated with, bringing about that change to the community through the art, um, we're not doing it for us at this point.
Mm-hmm.
As I say, we have to acknowledge that it's bigger than us. It's for them. It's for the people that wouldn't have it unless we did something about it.
For sure.
It's about, you know, the people that maybe would never even consider it because it's never been a part of their upbringing. Like me and you, our art was something that we picked up and we just went at it. Let us say, like, I never really picked up a camera and said, I'm an artist. Like, no, it wasn't until, you know, I became passionate about stuff that conflicts the two worlds, and I do my best job to never keep them in separate lanes. I try to merge everything I do into one lane. Um, so quite literally staying out of a lane. Like it's making sure that I can utilize my experiences through everything that I've done and to mend it all together into something beautiful, like providing arts education for students that don't have the opportunity.
For sure.
So educate, create, motivate.
That's
That's
so
my
good. I love that. I'm
that's
gonna
my
use that
motto.
all the time. I'm gonna trademark
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
I'm
All
gonna
right.
trademark Walter.
As long as
Yeah.
you trademark me, and you ain't taking my credit. You
I'd be
know, I got
like,
a bag. I need a bag too.
yeah. No, for sure. I'm gonna say trademark after every time. No,
Alrighty,
but I think
alrighty.
that's so beautiful, and it's like so. It's also so realistic. You know, sometimes we're like, oh, to make change, we have to do this really far out thing, but it's like, no.
Absolutely not. It's something that you can do right now.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
share. Everybody's on Twitter. Everybody's on Instagram. You go ahead and share something on your story. That's
That's.
you. That's you expressing yourself. That's you educate. First, you got to educate yourself. Don't just be sharing stuff willy nilly.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of false information out there. So make sure that you read it. You know, you proofread it. You understand that a lot of the information right now, you know, news outlets and, you know, stuff in general in the media, the internet, a lot of the stuff is biased. And it's not difficult, but it is a mission sometimes to find stuff that's just the facts. And there's no feelings attached to the information. That is just the real information. It is what it is, you know, and it's the truth. To be able to express yourself through your platform, even if it's to the 200 followers you have on your dog's Instagram. Do it. That's 200 people that learn that information, that see
Yeah,
that information. That's their education. You are their education at that point. You're an educator.
for sure.
And it's super important to acknowledge your power within social media. If you have 2,000 people following you and you've only posted pictures of yourself at the beach, they're going to listen. Even if they don't, they see it. But you did your best to express yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many different ways that you can go about it. That's why it's realistic. It's the thing that, you know, we need to acknowledge at this point. So many of us are seeing, you know, these influencers online and they're saying, you know, be happy, be the change you want to be. And they're not happy. They're not doing what they are, they're not practicing what they're preaching. I say you don't need to look for those type of people to make that change if you become that change. But I
Mm-hmm.
say you use your voice, you use your talent, you use your creation, that's create, um, and
There
you
you
stem
go.
that, and you do it for the people in the back. You do it for the people that aren't gonna
Yeah.
have. You're doing it for the people that aren't gonna be able to, that are gonna be able to enjoy those opportunities, even if you might not. You're doing it for them. So
Yeah.
definitely, that's where it goes.
That's so awesome. I'm gonna start now. Every time that I meet somebody new, I'm just gonna be like, "Hey, did you know that you are 3 times more likely to get a bachelor's degree if you have an arts education?" Just
And you
saying.
let them know like that. Like, I mean, probably, you know, press off the gas a little bit. They might run away, but you know, hey, if that's how you start your conversations and you know the person's comfortable, you know, speaking on stuff like that and they're actually interested, then that's where it starts. That's
Yeah,
where it goes. So yeah, no,
that's
probably let go of the gas a little bit on that one, but you know, you got the
but
right idea. You got the right idea.
educate,
You got the
create,
right idea.
motivate.
Educate, create, motivate. That's how it goes.
That's awesome. I think that's and it's so realistic. Well, thank you so much, Walter, for coming on and for spending this time with me. You know, time flew by. I didn't even know we were talking for this long.
It that's a good thing because it felt natural. I was very comfortable throughout the entire meeting. I had a great time discussing this with you. Nothing was awkward. Nothing was, above where we're at, to be able to talk to someone like-minded in the fact that, it's important to the both of us.
Mhm.
Um, it, it was great. I enjoyed, every second of it. I was never, in doubt about what time we were at or anything like that, and I hope we just did something for the others, did something for the people that don't get the opportunity to hop on a live and discuss or get interviewed by the hot tortilla on Santa Ana. Yeah, that's her name. I think so. I'm not sure. I know it's something tortilla. To be able to just express, let people know how you feel, let people know the facts. Super important.
Most
Um,
definitely.
you know, just express yourself. I think
Yeah.
that's the big thing. Just
Yeah.
be the change you want to see.
Yeah.
Simple as that. So thank you so much for giving me the time. Thank you, Create California. Yeah, this was fun. It
Yeah,
was
I'm
interesting.
so glad.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, I was into it.
everybody who's watching can go ahead and educate themselves by going on createca.org, by signing the pledge for arts education, by, finding out some facts and just continue creating and continue motivating so that the people in the back can
The people
receive.
in the back can see it. Yep.
Yeah. Well, thank
Alrighty.
you so much, Walter. Have a great rest of your night.
Thank you. Thank you. You guys have a good time. All right. Peace.
Bye, everybody. Good night.